The WLMouse BeastX and the BeastX Mini have quite a bit of hype behind them, and I finally get to take a look at how good these mice actually are. In terms of quality, these two are pretty much near perfect, as there are no issues whatsoever with my units. Features like the side buttons feel very good and the scrolling experience is very premium. And even the click feel is very crispy, tactile and light. But there is a minor nitpick in how quickly these triggers rebound after a click, and that makes these clicks feel a little bit lazier than they should be. It does not make the clicks any worse for spamming, but the feel is just not the best on the rebound. Funnily enough, the click feel is surprisingly similar for these two mice, although the switches are entirely different. The Huano blue shell pink dots on the Mini do feel more tactile and crispy, but the Omron opticals on the regular do not feel bad by any means and are surprisingly crispy and tactile for opticals. The build on these two mice is pretty much near perfect, especially when you consider how light these are. No flex, no creaking whatsoever, and these are both absolute tanks. The coatings on my two units are very different, as on the original BeastX there is more of a matte kind of finish, and the Mini then again has a glossy finish, which is very creepy and nice for me. But the matte finish on the regular BeastX is not the best I've tried, although I would say it's the best for a magnesium mouse that I've had. Let's talk about performance, which is very impressive for both of these mice. So they are using Nordic MCUs and the 3395 from PixArt. And the click latency is very impressive at 4000 Hz for both of these mice. And even at lower polling rates we are seeing very good numbers. The motion latency then again is not quite as easy to test, and my results with both of these are kind of mixed. And I'm not really getting any kind of accurate values, but what I can state is that it's somewhere between minus 0.4 milliseconds and about 0 milliseconds. The inaccuracy with my results with these two mice may be just due to my system, as I did not find any real issues from these two mice. The polling is not the most stable, but it will not cause any issues for you in-game, and it does not screw up my results. My system just has been quite unstable for a bit, and I need a fresh install whenever I have some time. The battery life is something that's very hard to measure for these 4K mice, because none of these actually last that long, and WLMouse seems to be right near the average right there. In terms of mouse feet, these both actually come with dot feet installed, and they have one feet on each corner. Dot feet are by no means my favorite feet, but these at least do their job quite well. Moving on to shape, which is not very interesting when it comes to the original BeastX, because it's pretty much a Starlight 12 clone. Very similar in shape, and there are essentially no major changes. It's alright for claw grip, but I would prefer it to have a more aggressive hump, like for example my ULX, which has a modified hump from Infinity Mice. The BeastX Mini then is more unique, and that is mainly due to the size of the mouse. It's extremely small and for sure one of the smaller mice that I've tried. As an example, I find the Razer Viper Mini Signature Edition to be very small, but this is quite a bit smaller than that. It's very thin and quite low profile and flat, so there is pretty much no hump whatsoever. For sure something that's on the verge of being too small for my 19x10cm hands and claw grip. I mean, I can claw and play quite well in-game, but for longer sessions the mouse starts being uncomfortable. Other small mice like the Razer Viper Mini Signature Edition, the OP1WE and the HDS Plus are much more preferable for me and claw, without any kind of issues with discomfort. For fingertip grip, I can see this mouse being quite interesting for some of you folk, and it's even interesting for claw if you have very small hands, but it's not a great feeling buying a €160 mouse from Max Gaming just to find out that it's too small for you. So these mice are by no means cheap, but at least to my understanding they do come with 4K dongles, and the 4K dongles are quite interesting, I would say. Not something I really care about, but these are cool for some consumers. If we look at the price difference against the ULX, for example, which does cost $190, But Finalmouse does have their completely own solution in terms of firmware, and the performance is exceptional. It's the best performing mouse on the market right now. The thing is that these numbers do not necessarily mean as much anymore, especially because the solutions that WLMouse are using are also very good, so the numbers are good. But anyway, overall I think that some of the hype is for sure justified. These are very impressive mice, especially because these are their first mice to my understanding. Very good quality, very good clicks. There is some slight issue with that feedback or that rebound. It seems a little bit slow on both of these units and maybe due to the magnesium clicks. But I would say that this is pretty much a nitpick and not something that I actually need to complain too much about. Great job for the first two mice, but I do think that the Mini is a little bit too small for me and I do not enjoy the original shape that much, but that does not mean that these might be very good mice for you. The Mini, especially if you have smaller hands. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it and see you in the next one.